Hey, how's it going, guys? This is DJ Fishing 20 here, and I'm back with another week of the NFL predictions. Now, we have a couple weeks left of this with the playoffs going on. So far the playoffs have been very, very interesting. A lot of stuff that didn't think could happen happened. A lot of stuff that people thought would happen happened. Very good analysis, I know. I should be on ESPN, right? Anyway, so with that being said, my record last week was 2-2. I went 2-2. Yes, obviously, if you watched the last video, you know which one I got right and wrong, but if you don't, I thought the Chiefs would win against the Titans. Titans came back. Andy Reid, no, I don't know if he knows how to win the playoffs. You know, as an Eagles fan, I know how that feels. So if you're a Chiefs fan, I'm sorry for you. The one I got wrong was the score to the Falcons versus Rams. I thought the Rams would come out, but the Falcons defense really shut down that offense, which gives them a very cool insight to see what will happen. Obviously, the two games we got right was Jacksonville beating the Bills and also the Saints beating the Panthers. I got those games right. Those are also very good games, but without further ado, let's get into the next video. Alright, so the first game we have is the Minnesota Vikings versus the New Orleans Saints, a rematch of a week one, I believe. One of these teams is going to play their first and last game of the season against each other. This is going to be a really good game. The Saints are looking amazing, firing all cylinders. Michael Thomas needs to get a lot more credit, I think. Ted Ginn Jr., amazing game last night. And, you know, you had the two backs who didn't do that well because they were being shut down. But with Drew Brees, you never know what's going to happen. You have a Minnesota Vikings team who has a decent run game, but a good defense, a really good defense. And we'll see what Case Keenum will do in the playoffs. I think that's going to be a big issue. Case Keenum doesn't have that much experience in the playoffs, at least. I kind of want to see how he does. They're playing in Minnesota. I'm going to pick Minnesota to win. Now, obviously, when they first played, they had the whole thing with Adrian Peterson being on there, and Adrian Peterson's not there anymore with either teams, actually. But I think the interesting part of this game is, can the Saints offense get the run game going to help that passing game? Now, it worked against the Carolina Panthers, who had a decent defense, but the Minnesota Vikings have one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. So, with that being said, can Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn Jr., Kamara, Ingram run the ball to get a decent passing game? Pascal get a good run game. We'll see how it goes there. On the other side of the ball, again, like I said, Case Keenum. Let's see what the Saints defense can do. They're pretty good defense too with Lattimore. If they can stop them from passing the ball, I can see the Vikings losing and the Saints winning. But in this one, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings at home. They have a lot to play for. Now, basically, if they get to the Super Bowl, they have a home field advantage in the Super Bowl, which is ridiculous. So with this one, I think is the Vikings are going to beat the Saints. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta come off of a great game against the Los Angeles Rams. This game is going to come down to one key factor, and that's going to be the offense of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, everybody knows Carson Wentz is out. Nick Foles can play well, and Doug Peterson has actually been looking at his 2013 film to see what he can do to make him play better. However, I think this is their weak point. Nick Foles has been struggling so much. Yes, they have home field advantage, which is a great thing to have in the playoffs. But the Falcons defense came up against the Los Angeles Rams, who's arguably one of the best offenses in the NFL, and just shut them down. Now, if a Jay Ajayi goes off and maybe Nick Foles plays well, I can see Eagles winning. The Eagles defense needs to be on point here to beat them. However, I think the Atlanta Falcons defense is what's going to be the key factor stopping Nick Foles in that run game, because I don't think he's going to be able to pass the ball up. I think Falcons win this one. Now, the Falcons have a hard road to the Super Bowl, having to play an away game no matter what happens. So we'll see how that goes. But as of right now, my NFC Championship predictions are the Atlanta Falcons versus the Minnesota Vikings. And if you don't know what happened the last time those two teams played against each other, then here's a clip. See if Minnesota changes that up, or see if Atlanta goes to another Super Bowl, trying to redeem that 28-3 embarrassment from last year. Well, next up, we got the AFC games. Obviously, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the last time these two faced was actually in the regular season. where the Jaguars handedly beat the Steelers. Now, there's a lot of things that comes into factor there. That game was a long time ago. You had Ben Roethlisberger was off. He threw 5 interceptions in one game. So again, there's a difference between the two teams right now from the beginning and the end of the season. Obviously, the Steelers had the better record coming into the playoffs. This is going to be a good game. What's going to come down to, though, is who has the better offense. Now, I know you score points, you win the game. It's obviously how it goes. But with the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, that's really good, and a Steelers defense that's also really good. It's going to come down to the offense. And here's where the line is drawn. Last week, Blake Bortles ran for more yards than he passed the entire game. The Jaguars only scored 13 points against the Buffalo Bills. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, they won, I know that. But if Blake Bortles cannot play like a star player, or at least a decent player, get some points on the board, then I don't think they'll be able to compete with the Steelers. The Steelers have so many weapons on offense. You have Ben Roethlisberger, you have Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown's coming back this week, see what he does, and you also have Martavis Bryant and Juju Smith-Schuster, who wasn't put into the offense at that point in time. He's been a really good player to have. It's going to be a really close one, but this one I'm going to give to the Steelers. Better overall offense and defense. Again, offense is going to be the key in this one, and I think the Steelers are going to make it to the AFC Championship. All right, next up we got the Tennessee Titans versus the New England Patriots. They're playing in Foxborough. I think this one goes to the New England Patriots. Now, before we just move on, they make that short. Here's why. So you got New England and Foxborough. It's hard to beat New England and Foxborough in the playoffs. You have Tom Brady. However, I will say this: Tom Brady has been slumping just a tad bit the past couple of weeks. They had a decent game last week, but he hasn't been himself, and most people can contest to that. But coming down, can he pass the ball? Can he get Gronk in the offense? Can Brandon Cooks actually come in? And the defense. Now, the defense was the key storyline for the Patriots in the beginning of the season. They weren't playing as well. People were like, "Oh, this is going to be the downfall. Brady's done this year. There's no way." Obviously, that flipped around with them being the number 1 seed in the AFC. Now, the Titans. This is where it gets interesting. The Titans have a decent pass defense. I know at one point in the season, their safety had the most picks in the NFL. Not sure if that stands right now or not, but I know at one point he had the most picks. And you have an offense that can at times be explosive. You have Marcus Mariota, who's himself a running quarterback and can be explosive. You have Matthews. You have Delaney Walker. You have Henry. I think Murray's injured. I'm not sure on that. But I will say this. It will be a better game than I think people are going to pick it out to be. But I do think that in this one at least, that the Patriots move on, and my AFC prediction will be the Patriots versus Steelers. Shocker there, I know. Who would have expected that? But that is my predictions. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please do like, comment, subscribe. Tell me guys what you want to see happen. Tell me guys what you think the big storylines of this week are going to be. It's very interesting. I know the playoffs are playoffs. Single elimination. You never know what's going to happen. But again, I hope you liked it. Comment. I just want to hear what you guys have to think, Thank you for all the support I've been getting, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.